May it rest in peace.
Mike Flanagan is probably in my top 10 working directors right now. Everything that he's been doing within collaboration with Netflix has been fantastic. But now we have The Fall of the House of Usher. With the 8 episodes over an hour long, this is the last collaboration they're doing together for a while as far as I'm aware, because he's going over to Amazon now. But The Fall of the House of Usher, based on an Edgar Allan Poe works, is one that I feel like is going to be very mixed in reception. People are going to go in expecting one thing from previous works and storylines, but they're going to get another thing. Now, is that still going to be your cup of tea? Let's talk about it. To secure their fortune and future, 2 ruthless siblings build a family dynasty that begins to crumble when their heirs mysteriously die one by one. So Mike Flanagan's fast becoming one of those directors that uses characters and actors that he's used before, not just within Netflix collaborations, but those from his films as well. And so what we get here is a cornucopia of, if you know me, if I've worked with you and I like your work, this is where the place I'm going to give you a character and a role. And so we see this house, the House of Usher. It's really just a big family, how they came to be as powerful as they are. Each episode kind of deals with one of the family members, and we see events spiral out of control in horrific ways. Now, I would say this is the least scariest horror from Mike Flanagan, but also has some of the most scary moments, from jump scares to just the visual aesthetics of what you're seeing, the gory nature of some of those moments that jump out of you. There are a lot of jump scares in this when it is scary, which is a little bit negative thing, but the way it's used here I think works quite well, because for the most part this whole series is a slow burn. It's the mystery that's unfolding as to why these things are happening to this family. If you've never read the short story, I know you can find it free, or you can buy yourself a short story book of the Edgar Allan Poe. It'll take you a while to dissect what's all of the meaning, because it is spoken in some of that old English. But once you get it, you'll understand the nuances and the fruit of what they've taken from the short story to adapt it into this story. Now, there are some outstanding performances, but it's really hard to choose those that are great in this particular series, because those that are in this are fantastic. Everybody brings their A game. The thing I think people are going to find difficult to get to grips with this series is because it's a slow burn. Every single episode has some unique scary moments, but rarely we're going to see the nitty-gritties and the in and outs of this family. The problem is this family are nasty. As far as I can tell, there are no redeeming qualities from any member of the family except one. It's one of those that when you are introduced to the so-called bad guy, or the thing that's making things happen to this family, you're kind of rooting for them because you realize how nasty this family is and why they came to be that way. Not justifying it, but you kind of get an understanding. So there's a few episodes that it took me really a long time to get to grips with this series. For me, this wasn't a binge. I had this series for a few weeks, and it took me a few weeks to get through the episodes. I eventually binged the last 3 episodes, and I'm glad I did. I think the final fruition, the revelation of the how and the why, the story as to when we're getting to that revelation of the story, felt somewhat satisfying. It's more the journey of what you're going through with these characters, so that when you get to that revelation, don't think it's going to be like, wow, that's absolutely amazing revelation. You probably would have guessed some of the things already, and the major reveal, you'll be like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. It's not going to blow you away. But what is going to blow you away is the acting performances with the aesthetics that is created through some of those sets, and the sound design, which is excellent. And again, once again, the storytelling through the filmmaking techniques. That's what makes Mike Flanagan's stories so inviting, because the characters are very realized, very fleshed out, but the world that you live in, the world building that comes to fruition when you put everything and then it works together like a big giant piece of art, you know, from that storytelling, from the acting, from the dialogue written, those beautiful sets that create the atmosphere that you want to see. That for me is brilliant. And I think some people are going to go like, yeah, this was absolutely amazing. But some people are going to be like, I was so bored, I had to switch it off. And I get it. I get both aspects. For me, it took me a long time to get into it. But once I did, I really enjoyed it. Does that make sense? So for me, the standout was Carla Gugino. Her performance as Verna here, I think she smashed it out of the park. There's some monologue scenes with her that are amazing. But she does get to play a few various types of characters, and I loved every moment with her in it. She shines in this. I loved her in Gerald's Game. Again, we saw her and Bruce Greenwood.
So we're on. We were happy once, weren't we?
Gerald?
What?
What's happening?
Oh.
Gerald!
Who is Roderick Usher here in this, and he plays the perfect kind of father figure in the worst way possible, but also has that presence to be that. You believe him in the role, and that's what you get. Everybody from Raoul Coley to Kate Siegel to Mary McDowell to Henry Thomas to Samantha Sloyan to Zach Gilford, they all play their characters amazingly, and that's partly to do with their ability, but also to do with the amazing script, with the dialogue, the fleshed out nuances of those characters. They have to obviously take them and make them their own, but it was a proper ride. I want to know from you guys, once you've watched the whole series, what did you think of the ending? Did you get it? Did you have to really concentrate it? Or did you find it really boring and all those aesthetics and nuances and storytelling you didn't quite get? Did you find it really scary? There were moments that I was like, jump scare got me, or that is really gross. But for the most part, I was just kind of listening to the dialogue and watching as in like in awe as a master craftsman doing his craft so well. So I'm going to give this a tight 4. Just 4 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one. Congratulations.
For me, I wanted to give it higher than that, but there were times I felt like this dragged, and I did feel like the scares were forced on me in a lot of the places. Then there were a few that weren't, but for me, the performances, the score, the dialogue, the artistic design, the sets, all of that were incredible, and so it did end up being a piece I loved rather than got annoyed with, which is where I was kind of at the beginning. Took me a while to get into it, but once I was there, I was locked in. Let me know your thoughts as to which so far out of the Mike Flanagan series on Netflix did you enjoy the most. Thanks so much for watching. Did you find the mirror that's in every one of his productions? The mirror right from beginning in Oculus, and in every episode and every season of TV and movies, apparently the mirror is there. Let me know if you found it. Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.